Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for Wednesday, the 7th day of October 2020. Well, we have a day of balance today. Kind of step back, take a more dispassionate look at things, and allow things to come to a rest before reacting. It's kind of a take stock moment up through. I always view Wednesdays as that. We're just taking stock of the day or of the week rather, and just to see where you're at, what you forgot to do, what you still have left to do. Um, it's kind of what I always do on a Wednesday. It's like, oh Lord, what I forget, you know. Anyway, we have. I already chose the rune. Well, I didn't choose the rune. I got the rune out of the rune found its way into my hand. We'll put it that way. I just put my hand in the bag and I let them all fall through my fingers, and whatever's left is the rune. So that's how I set my intention, for what I'm doing. And if I'm doing a bind rune or whatever, I do that. And when I have, 3 or 4, maybe 5 runes, depending, I don't do any more than 5 in a bind rune, but usually I like to keep it simple, 3 to 4 at the most. But, if it feels like I need more, then I take them and we figure it out. But that's what I do for here too. I just let the rune decide itself, which is going to be the rune for the day. I always find that it seems to just be the right one, always. They never fail me. It's so odd. But then I've been working with runes for, geez. Well, I mean, probably technically since I was a teenager, so I was probably, I don't know. Was I when I really started looking at the runes themselves? I've always been interested in sigil type things, sigil type designs. That's why I love logos. I don't know why. I love to look at different businesses' logos. Like, okay, what did you do? What does that mean? But I think it was maybe when I first got a hold of a set of runes, I was maybe 15 or 16, maybe. I know I was still if I think I was still in high school because I graduated early. I graduated in 3 years as a junior and went directly into college in summer terms. Anyway, it was easy to do at that time. I think the following year they upped the credit requirements, but at that time, it wasn't even difficult to do a 3-year graduation, and so I did it. So if I was 16, I could have been out of high school, but I don't know. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I was in high school when I started working with the runes themselves, the Elder Futhark. So I don't know. I just love them. They're just a everyday part of my life. So anyhow, I work rune magic and all of that. So it's just I think it was just a calling. Then come to find out when I did my ancestry, I'm still doing it, but because you never get everybody right. So you have to keep renewing at ancestry.com, right? But then I discovered, that I have druids in my background and stuff. So Bran the Blessed and all of that stuff. So yeah, so I guess it makes sense energetically why I was drawn to it. It's just in my my bloodline, if you will. So anyhow, let's see. I'm going to move that out of the way. Did I say that I don't think I said this. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I got off topic. But anyway, the rune for today's reading is going to be Ansu's. That's Odin's rune. And then Acquisitio, which is gain for the geomancy rune. So I've started doing this kind of backwards from the way I used to do it. I would do those after I was done looking at the cards. But now I think I need to do this in a way that incorporates this as we go. So I want to think of them as the groundwork for the reading. So know that for Ansu's, you're talking again about an air element rune, a rune of spirit. So it's, again, Odin's rune. It means divine message, spirit communication, eloquence in your word, creation, higher self, divinity, clarity. So you see, it's all message from spirit with Ansuis. And I think that, you know, even if you don't look at the rest of the reading, you can see with, it's getting warm in the still room. My door is closed and I got a candle going, so, you know. Plus, I just did the esoteric influences, so I've been here a while. But anyway, anytime you start talking about drawing down spirit into your interactions with other people, you're going to gain, no matter what it is. Even if it's just a matter of gaining clarity, you're going to gain something out of the experience, and so will the other people involved, because you're not reacting with ego. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the cards. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for coming by. And click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. And check out the blog over at Stepping Aside. It's at imsteppingaside.com. It's a witch and herbalism blog, and I've been writing it since, I think, 2012. And I'm pretty proud of it, to be honest with you. I put a lot of time and effort into it, so I write pretty much every day. So sometimes more, usually more than one thing goes up every day. So the astrological, well, it's called the magical forecast. Yeah, magical forecast for whatever day it is. I've had several different titles for it, but anyway, I think that's the latest one. Anyway. If you work in magic, it's just a little way of looking at the astrological stuff. There's a little bit of magic correspondences there as well, but I link to the correspondences for the days, each one. I have a big post that I link to down at the bottom, so if you want more information, you can look there too. But it saves having to get out the grimoire and check, okay, what crystal was it again? You know, when I'm working a particular spell, you'll find a lot of that kind of stuff there. But I mean, you know, it's just a quick reference is all. So anyhow, let's go ahead and take our first 3 cards and see what we have. And again, I'm going to take the 13th one each time for randomness sake. So if we need a 4th card, we'll take it. Otherwise, we'll just work with 3 today. We have the 2 of Pentacles. Standing on one foot, trying to make a decision, weighing out the options. Pentacles is the earth element, and so we're talking the practical side of self. Not just you know, the form, you know, not just the work and home life and tradition and legacy and all that stuff, but also the body, you know, the incarnation itself, and all the issues surrounding, you know, the form itself is also part of that. But clearly we have to make a decision having to do with something security-minded. Well, whether it's talking about the upcoming election or whether or not, you know, it's talking about something in your personal life, there needs to be something decided here with respect to your personal life. And it has to do with betrayal. So this may not have, I mean, sure, we can look at the greater picture of betrayal that we're all experiencing right now collectively, but this could have something to do with what's going on in your personal life. And so be certain to, you know, you're going to know. You won't need to be certain to do anything. You're going to know if you're being betrayed in your personal life, because clearly you have to make a decision about it. But we'll talk about that in a minute here. Let me go ahead and shuffle a little bit more. And we take the 3rd card. It's not like anybody has to tell you that you've been betrayed. Well, we have a 7 of Pentacles, taking stock. Yeah, you know, kind of what's at stake. I say this every time. It reminds me of my husband who's out in the pasture irrigating or whatever, or dressing up the irrigation ditches or what have you. And he'll stand there and he'll either lean on his shovel or whatever. And he'll just think, you know, he'll just look around and he'll think, and, you know, sometimes it's, okay, what do I need to do, or whatever, you know, or he's surveying where the water's going or what have you. But every time I see the 7, it reminds me of that. So we have a 7, 3, that's 10, 11, 12. So we have a 3 energy for the reading. I think that we're going to use the three of swords. Swords is the air element. It's intellect, it's reason, it's balance, it's communication. So I think we're going to use that as the significator of the card, of the reading, which means that we're going to kind of make it the focal point of what we're going to talk about here with the 2 and the 7. So let's take a look at it. We see the clouds. It's raining behind, lots of emotion. You know, that's not always just one element contained contained within a specific suit. You'll often see other elements contained within it. And the rain is coming down. It indicates grief. We have 3 swords piercing a heart. And if you look, the swords on each side of the center one really are behind the center one in their piercing. Check that out. So basically, you've got things going on behind the scenes. People are, doing this. They're slandering you. They're lying to you, or whatever. I think that we're seeing so much of that happening in life right now, particularly collectively, with all of the deception going on in the government and surrounding everything that's happening there. We're not going to know the truth about that for a while. And I mean, I realize a lot of things are coming out, a lot of truths are coming out, but I think the collective truth of it all, to really understand the damage that's been done to the country, I think it's going to take some time. And we're going to have to get beyond this administration and into the new one that hopefully will happen on November 3rd, because we can't take anymore, right? I think that's what's going to happen. And it would be best if it was a groundswell. It would be best if it was so massive that it sent a message to the people that are engaging in this kind of subterfuge and this kind of self-dealing behavior, that they get the message that it cannot happen again, right? And I think that if you want to then extrapolate that downward into your own personal life, whatever's going on here has to be revealed in a way that it prevents it from happening again. Okay? So if you use the momentum and the realization about what's happening, the outrage, all of that you may feel, transfer that on to what's going on in your personal life, because something's happening behind the scenes there possibly that needs to be taken care of before it gets out of hand any further. So a decision has to be made. You can see the ships on the waves in the background. Still, there's some emotional turmoil going on now that you have accepted the fact of the betrayal. You're going to feel a lot of different ways, right? You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel upset. You're going to feel ripped off. You're going to feel abused. You're going to feel any number of things by this betrayal. Whether it's from a close partner, a spouse maybe, or whether it's maybe something at work that's happening behind the scenes and is causing you. Maybe a coworker is slandering you. Maybe a neighbor is slandering you somehow. But it has to be somebody that's directly involved with you and who can affect your life. So this could be coming from family. It could be coming from anywhere. So again, be aware that it's happening, and realize what the truth of this is. And you're going to have to deal with it by making a decision. You're going to weigh out the options, stand on one foot if you need to, but you're going to have to make a decision that affects something about your physical manifestation. Whether it's, and realistically, it could be anything involved in the earth element. I mean, even things that you might attribute normally to swords, like relationships, but that relationships are a foundation of our lives. And so it would definitely apply to pentacles here and to the earth element. So even if it's about trying to weigh out the options surrounding a relationship, if this is the end of one, for example, because the betrayal is so big, you have to weigh out your options about what you're going to do. If this is at work, you might even choose to leave the job and go find another one because the betrayal is so bad. Or if it's possible to stand up to the situation, that might be the choice that you make. Either way, on this 7 energy day with this 7 energy card, 7 of Pentacles, we see the man standing there surveying what he has and what's at stake. All right. And he has to bring his mind to a certain resting point, to a certain still point. If you think the scales, then the place that you want to be is the 4 position. You've got 1, 2, 3 on one side, 4, 5, 6 on the other, or rather 5, 6, 7 on the other, and the 4 in the center, right? So you want to take that position and observe and evaluate and come to some understanding while you're making this decision about what you have to do about the betrayal. Now, if it's simply what's going on collectively and everything's cool in your personal life, well, great, but whatever we need to do here, we need to return to some higher level of discourse, higher level of awareness, higher level of discrimination. And Ansu's, which we see Lagu's twice there, it's the flow of spirit into our discourse, the flow of spirit into our dialogue with others, but also the dialogue we have with ourselves, the inner dialogue, so that we can take a look at this whole thing when we're coming to that resting point in this 7 day with this 7 energy here. How do we get out of this in a way? How do we resolve this in a way that is based on truth, that's based on clarity, that's based on spirit awareness, that's based on a higher self-balance to things, getting out away from it all and looking at what's going on with a dispassionate viewpoint, taking the emotion out of it. You see the line of demarcation here between the waves of emotion and the decision that needs to be made. You've got to move away from it into that 7 energy, into that balance point before making any decisions. Whether it's about the election coming up and the betrayal we all feel. I read a thing where there's a report out now that the separation of the kids on the border happened at a staff meeting of higher echelon people. Jeff Sessions was there. Rod Rosenstein was there apparently, and they're all advocating that there's no something equity, Rosenstein said. There's no problems with the balance of, I don't know what it was, I forget now, but it was a weird phrase he used, as if it's not going to impact justice at all to separate infants from their parents. And it was decided at that meeting, it was said, no, we've got to take them. I think Rod Rosenstein says it doesn't matter how young they are, or some such thing. And Sessions is advocating for this. We've got to separate the children, he says. The betrayal of who we are as a nation, just in that one moment alone. And realizing it's a series of emotions, a series of moments like this, where all of these kinds of decisions to go against the Constitution, to go against who we are as Americans, and harm families just seeking solace and comfort from the storm of their own lives. This is a terrible place that these people have put this country in. But you see, that's what betrayal and lies and subterfuge and deception and dishonesty and dishonor and the lowest form of ego does. It ruins things. And that's what we're witnessing now. The last vestiges of the ruination that these people have caused. Well, if it's happening in your personal life, if it's happening at work, you may have to make a decision here. How do you turn this around to your own gain? And the main way to do this, into the acquisitio of the whole experience, how do you remain in a position where you gain from this? Well, you might choose to leave a job, but maybe the job you go to, if this is happening at work, maybe the job you go to is a much better one. So in other words, this forced you to make another choice and to reevaluate where you are. Reevaluation here, you see. So again, whether this is what we have to do in terms of the election or whether this is something going on in your personal life, you can see how things can get out of control very quickly, where a lot of things are happening. And then by the time you figure it out, because see, there's been stuff going on here for a while. All right. By the time you figure it out, there might be a mess that's so big, you don't have a choice but to leave either the relationship, either the personal one, the work relationship, whatever. You might though be able to salvage something, if you can eradicate that person who's causing the problem from the situation. In other words, maybe you go to your boss if this is a job and say, you know what? I need to tell you about something I just figured out and that is affecting me and ultimately you and the company here. And so maybe when you tell your story and you prove your case, maybe the people involved get fired, right? So maybe you don't have to go anywhere, but you have to make a decision today about the betrayal that's happening. Again, whatever it is. And make the decision accordingly, whether it's voting for someone else, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, whether it's voting for them in lieu of the fools that got installed by God knows who, or Goddess knows who. Because I think we'll get it from Goddess before we get it from anyone else. You have to make a decision. It's not easy when you've been betrayed to take that leap of faith that whatever you do in terms of the decision you make, it's going to put you in a better place. But that's what the geomancy rune's telling us. Whatever you do here, it's going to put you in a better place. Whether it's the election in November or whether it's something that's going on in your life. But whatever is going on here, whether it's, about to lose your health insurance, depending on what the Supreme Court decides next month. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Going to take away everything. Just because this guy can't seem to be a human being. Just blows me away. That we've fallen so far, so quickly. But you see, that's what happens when deception happens, when betrayal happens, when people work behind the scenes to harm other people. And that's what's going on here. So, take the bull by the horns and make a decision. Reflect, take stock, understand both sides of the issue, understand all sides of the issue, and make your decision accordingly today. Do it in eloquence, do it in spirit, and watch the positive things that can then open doors for you, you see. It can open doors, so just something new and better. The acquisitio of your life, maybe, who knows. Well, anyway, I think that's it. I think we've done enough damage for today, anyhow. We'll see you tomorrow. We do this 4 days a week, and so I'll be back again tomorrow. Do check out the blog over at Stepping Aside. This will go up over on the side panel, as will the Esoteric Influences. Let's see, it's not quite done uploading, I don't think. Let me look. No. Let's see. Oh, no, 80% uploaded. So we're getting close. So as soon as that's uploaded, I'll get that published on the blog and everywhere else, and then I'll get this one going as well. And sign up for the newsletter if you want to. It's actually right above where I post the videos there on the side panel over at Stepping Aside. Sign up for the newsletter and you'll get the week's worth of esoteric influences in your inbox on Sundays. So if you want that, there's that. And wear a mask if you go out around anyone at all today, whether you're inside or out. The 6 feet thing is probably not realistic. So please, please, please. And if someone's not in a mask, walk away from them. Just say, hey, you know what? Let's either talk on the phone or, if you got a mask you could put on maybe. But if you don't, that's okay. We'll just talk another time. Or if you don't know the person, it's like, hey, man, get away from me. You don't have a mask on. Don't come near me. Just get away. Protect yourself. And if you have children that you take out and about, have a mask on them as well, even the babies, all right? Protect your children. This can harm them. They can get this. They can get the COVID. So please take care of yourself and those around you by wearing a mask. So anyhow, I guess that's it. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.